What's up, AKAPADers? It's finally here for Wildstorm Wednesday. Jim Lee's worst drawn comic book. That's right, we're going to get into it. Let's go. What's up, AKAPADers? Peter A. DeLuca here, aka Pad69, and you guys know me, say it with me, known through Philadelphia, PA, Europe, and the vast multiverse as your eclectic one. Welcome back to the channel. We have it right here. Let me grab it, right? Wildstorm, issue 47. Hyped within Wildstorm's own magazine's own comic books, in their own ads, they spoke about this issue. Jim Lee's returning to Stormwatch. He's bringing a full issue of Stormwatch to you with superstar writer and now recently canceled Warren Ellis. Hey people, we don't care about Warren Ellis being canceled. He's one of the GOATs. He's one of the greatest of all time. This issue certainly proves us. Him transforming Stormwatch into the Authority puts him on the Mount Rushmore of comic book writers. But before we get into all of that, Wildstorm Wednesday, that's today's edition. And if you're not familiar with Wildstorm Wednesday, it's a long form study of what I call the 90s publishing powerhouse by one Jim Lee. And sometimes we go into Wildstorm lore, characters, mythology, continuity, and sometimes we highlight some of the creators around Wildstorm. We've been talking a lot about Jim Lee, and that's mostly because he just upsets me right now. Everything, he's just derailing DC Comics, and as the slow motion off the cliffiness of DC Comics really highlights everything that he did with Wildstorm, and I do view a lot of similarities. Some of it we will touch on when we get into Stormwatch issue 47. But in no way is this a commentary on what's happening today. There's just some parallels to be drawn. And people, I just don't feel like when it comes to Jim Lee, enough of the comic book commentators on YouTube look at Jim Lee and a lot of the image generation with a truly critical eye. For some reason, it's nothing but adulation, polishing the knob. You guys get the drift on that. And we do not do that on this channel. On this channel, we are 100% critical. We're tough, we're rough. We try and be honest, we try and be fair. And I try and bring you guys crevices and veins that no one else is touching on, which probably explains the slow growth of this channel, because I'm not really chasing clicks, and you know, sometimes we do quick hot button hot takes and those sorts of reviews and conversations, but even when I do those, it's mostly based on something that I'm very passionate about. You know, like my James Gunn commentary, my Quantumania commentary. So let's just hit that drawing table. Wildstorm Wednesday. We're continuing the long form look at one comic book publisher. Let's go. Alright, AKAPADers, we're going right on top of my Disney Blue sketchbook. If you guys follow me on Instagram, yeah, I've been kind of doing 22 30-minute streams on some of these pages, and my whole idea was I wanted to transform this blue Stitch notebook here into a all blue Disney sketchbook, and my goal was to, like, if you know, see it from the side, I wanted it to be all blue. But you know, we're making progress, everyone. We're almost done. So join me on social media. We can hang out, do some draw some Disney characters. Wildstorm 47, much hyped within Wildstorm's own publications. If you read anything, you got spoon-fed Warren Ellis and Jim Lee returns to Stormwatch. Feel the fire. Now, what we have here too, everyone, is kind of like, if we do this, we get Jim Lee's classic triangulation. And this is how he lays out his covers. He is an absolute master at it. Winter Fiji never looked so good. Fahrenheit looks hot with the awesome red hair. This is still Image Comics. Image Comics still had a place in the comic book world at this time. They portrayed and drew heroes in such a way, it was always exciting when you saw them. Now, we will say this. Let's just get to the team shot real quick. I just want to highlight this. We have Flint. Flint is a Warren Ellis throw-in from his time. He took over at issue 37. Stormwatch ends at issue 50 to go into volume 2, and volume 2 spins into the Authority. So this is a Flint is a Warren Ellis character, and this is the same problem that Alan Moore introduced into Wildcats and Alan Moore introduced into Youngblood. For some reason, the look of the characters that some of these high-end writers threw into these books and the way how they just don't fit, and that's the point. Flint clearly does not fit in the lineup. She just doesn't, and this is a problem that plagues Rob Liefeld's studio and Jim Lee's studio. Both of those companies had incredible looking characters that slowly had ironic looking characters thrown into it. Let's get into the story. We start with Weatherman doing his monologue, because here's what we have. Okay, we essentially have Jim Lee drawing nothing but splash pages for the entire issue. So this is just 20 something, like somewhat partial up drawings from Jim Lee, and then Warren Ellis just puts over captions and somewhat of this journal entry that Weatherman is reporting to the council. Okay, so Weatherman reports on the council, and he's just describing in this European country, a lot of Stormwatch agents disappeared into a hole because they detected radiation, and this is the survivor that they found, and he's psychologically tortured. They feel like he's never going to come back, and that he is to kind of stay in their facility until he passes away. So, intro, here we go. People, this is Jim Lee's wonderful return to Stormwatch. Buy more Stormwatch. Jim Lee's drawing it, but we get this. We get very poor graphic design. I would say the company is stretched thin with this. We have Pegasus Inferius, and this is an ancient manuscript that they found in this town while investigating these disappearances and the death of the Stormwatch guys. Yeah, the Stormwatch red shirts essentially. And he just basically says, look, these people, they were corrupted. There's reports of a lizard lady and all of these things. And yeah, we just get more contemplation, but we're getting Jim Lee just drawing splash pages here, and these are not full-size splash pages. You have to remember, I would argue that some of these splash pages are this size, okay? This is how stretched Wildstorm is. All but one ad. We have Wildcats 38 ad. All but one of the ads, aka padders, have coloring. These are flats. You'll see 2 more ads in this book that have flats. They can't even color their own ads for their own books at this time. Like I said, it doesn't bode well for the optics of Wildstorm Productions. And if you don't think industry professionals don't ID this, anyway. But we're getting some, like, you know, we get a great Jim Lee splash page here. Enter the team, Fuji, Fahrenheit winner, Flint, and Hellstrike over here. Hellstrike at one time looked like Deadpool, but he was white, and now he's just glowing blue guy. Thank you, Warren Ellis. And he's also a wisecracker. So they uncover the hole. We get some decent artwork. But then here we go. The artwork just starts to take a turn. We have a very loose Jim Lee drawing here. We have something we can't decipher. A floating body, dead. This is one of the Stormwatch guys that disappeared. He has some type of like fungus growing from him. We really don't see it. You can tell that the captions Warren Ellis wrote that in. Jim Lee didn't draw it in. We have zero description of the body, the bodies within the tunnel. But essentially what happens is like the Demonites have been kidnapping people from this village and they've been doing experiments on them. So that's a little bit of the hook. And then we get the woman that was reported from the manuscript from earlier in a so-and-so Jim Lee drawing. This might be Jim Lee's absolute worst demon creature he's ever drawn. The hair just looks very silly. And then again, we just get Hellstrike shooting him. Not too spectacular. And then we get a poor reaction of everyone here. People, Backlash 32. The stunning final issue. Backlash should never have ended. We also have flats. This is not even a colored ad, people. And then we have another great shot of the team walking through the tunnel. And they're saying that there's something at the end of the tunnel. And what they encounter is like windows to other dimensions and other universes, and they kind of describe a little bit of H.P. Lovecraft and madness once they start to gaze into the windows. Very cool stuff, very Warren Ellis. We have demonite bones here. They decipher that they're demonite bones, and they kind of go into detail that this is an emic and edic reality. Emic reality is what we experience and express through our senses and thoughts. The structure of our real world, basically. Flint. Etic reality is reality we just can't experience or describe. A reality we don't have equipment for. Super cool stuff. So this is just in the random European tunnel. They uncover this stuff. Very Wildstorm. People, okay, I take it back. We have somewhat of a colored Wildstorm 48 colored advertisement here. And then, you know, we get Flint here in a... This is Jim Lee trying to impersonate J. Scott Campbell poorly. J. Scott Campbell slaughters Jim Lee with these proportions at this time. Big feet, it makes no sense, poor decision. But she starts to get attacked by what these experiments are. And they're just almost like these flesh beings. They're described a little bit here, a lot like the Xenomorph and Aliens. And we remember that Warren Ellis killed off Stormwatch in Aliens vs. Wildcats. That also led into the Authority. People kind of forget that. But yeah, then we get the team fighting the experiments from the Demonites. Ancient experiments. And they just start butchering, slaughtering everyone. Fiji here in a not so great of a shot. Not so great of a action shot here. When we're doing nothing but splash pages, we're not very splashy. And then Winter targets the radiation, and he's able to rechannel and hone in on the radiation and basically blast everyone to Kingdom Come. Now, this is cool. This is a great looking page, by the way. Best looking page in the entire book. Okay, Wildstorm Spotlight. We're back to doing flash for our ads. And then we have, here you go, everything's disintegrated. And he basically, I guess, like zapped the radiation from the portals or from the windows enough to like, to almost like diminish their effect or their power. Kind of cool. And then we have a great, you know, and then the weatherman is ending his report and he goes, I would once more impress upon the Special Security Council that only one thing in this mind world stands between us and them. Stormwatch. Perfect. Very satisfactory when you read that. Now, I'm not going to say this wasn't satisfactory. It wasn't like entertaining. I believe Warren Ellis completely saves this issue. But back in the day, if you spent $250 based on the Wildstorm trade ads that hyped up Jim Lee drawing this issue, and you went into a comic shop and you bought this sight unseen, you lay down your $250 and you sat down to read it, you would be disappointed because none of this really comes off as Jim Lee drawings, Jim Lee artwork. There's no Jim Lee isms. It's just disappointing. It really is. And it's extra disappointing because Wildstorm needed Jim Lee at this time. This book was kind of like falling down the memory hole. They were losing sales. It wasn't until Change or Die, which is 48, 49, and 50, that's where people started to get a little bit more awareness around Stormwatch, but they needed Jim Lee to pop this title. It didn't work. There was a lot of stakes. This is Jim Lee drawing Stormwatch to save Stormwatch. So, I don't know, people. Let me know. Pick it up. KFAB effect, or the Peter A. DeLuca aka Army effect. Go out, get yourself. This is $1 issue. Money well spent. It's worth the study. You don't have to know a lot about Stormwatch either. This is a good one and done issue, but not good for a Jim Lee study.